welcome in to a nice little fantasy football headline edition over here, WinDailySports.com. My name is John Jansen. Follow me on that Twitter machine, username at JJansen34. I got to change that. Stobey, at Stobey, Stoweby. Stobey, no numbers in his name. Stobey.
Nope, that's good. I got it early. I got to it early.
So we had our divisional previews, my man, and you can check those all out over on our YouTube channel. Subscribe, WinDailySports.com. But we did all of our divisional previews, and of course, things change. And we actually expected one of these changes to happen, and that was Sony Michel being moved on. He was traded to the Rams, and I think we more broke down the situation with the Patriots than we did the Rams, so that'll be new. Yeah. But let's start with the Patriots, though. Sony Michel does get traded. I mean, like, does this benefit Damian Harris that much? I think we were all expecting Sony Michel's role to be very limited and not expect to see him too much anyway. So I don't know if it really changes the projection. It just kind of reinforces Damian Harris is probably number one guy.
Yeah. And I mean, for us, we kind of expected this to happen. So as far as Damian Harris goes, it kind of is what it is. It's not like it's not going to change anything on our end, but it is going to kind of damage his draft stock as far as we're concerned, because now everybody else is going to be on him, because with Sony Michel out the door, there are going to be a lot of people gravitating towards Damian Harris. And I don't know. I haven't really checked the ADP numbers, so you probably want to give it a few days to kind of simmer a little bit. But I'm curious to see how much of the public is on Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, he's looked really good in this preseason, so I'm sure he's got some helium. I just kind of want to see it prove out in the numbers. But I would kind of gravitate towards a little bit more towards Ramondre now, because I think people are this close to the regular season starting. I think you're going to end up paying for Damian Harris's upside if you're going to have any chance of getting him at this point in time.
What is the upside? I mean, is he used in what that Sony Michel role was? And that was just basically running the ball. And, if the Patriots do run it 20, 30 times a game, or at least, want it grounded pound, they used Sony Michel in that role, but then everything else was kind of distributed elsewhere to James White and Rex Burkhead. Are we seeing a similar type of situation here where, Damian Harris could be RB1, but that's not also going to be the role that they need all the time. They're going to need a pass catcher. They're going to need somebody else to fill that role as well. So what is the upside with Damian Harris in an offense like this that we've seen? It's been wacky before.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're going to run plenty, especially when it's Cam behind center. Cause I mean, we've already talked about that. I think they are going to try and hide him as much as possible. I know he had that accurate game, and I know there's people running around saying it was a statement game, but if you were to look at that replay, there is one thing that you will notice if you're paying attention. Every single one of those passes that he made when he went 9 of 10 was max protection. So they're not going to be running max protect for 17 games. So just keep that in mind. It's still Cam Newton. His mechanics still break down. So I see them running Harris a lot, especially between the 20s. And I was saying it kind of half-heartedly about Harris in between the 20s and Stevenson, maybe when you get down in the red zone and near the goal line, kind of. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, we'll see it. We might be seeing that kind of dreaded split backfield the more that I look at it, because I've really been impressed with the way that he has looked. So, I mean, maybe mid to low range RB2 for Damian Harris.
Yeah, and, this question, it's obviously, I think it's James Robinson, and I think it's pretty obvious when you take a look at the Win Daily Sports season-long rankings. We have Damian Harris at 30th, James Robinson we have up to 16th, which is right behind Najee Harris and right above Miles Sanders. So the James Robinson projection goes up, but look, the guy behind him is Carlos bleeping Hyde, man. Like, that guy's not, I hate to say long gone, but I mean, we know what Carlos Hyde is at the moment.
He's a fill-in guy.
He's a fill-in. When James Robinson needs a little bit of a breather, Hyde will go in, but pretty much downs 1, 2, and 3. I mean, it's all going to James Robinson. I don't I don't see him leaving the field too often, and I don't see anybody else taking his role in any way, in any capacity, whether that's goal line carries, whether it's out of the backfield catching, whatever the situation is. I feel like he's the top running back in almost any context in any game situation, and that's why his ranking's going to be almost 15 spots higher than Harris.
Yep. I mean, the people that went out and they got James Robinson, like I got a few shares of him here or there. I wasn't scared off from him. I didn't see him. And, I saw them using ETN as more of that all-purpose guy here this first season, and to have that familiarity with Lawrence. So, I mean, if you got him before all this happened, good on you, because he was still going to be getting plenty of usage. I don't know too many people, at least within Win Daily Sports, that were too scared off from him, especially where he was at. He was going later than ETN. Now, the person that I actually think this benefits, aside from James Robinson,
are you going to say it? Are you going to say Laviska?
Look, there you go. See, I don't even need to say it. You know what I'm talking about.
Laviska season, baby.
Because Laviska was the one that I thought took the biggest hit with Travis Etienne, because they were going to serve a similar role. That's what I thought from the jump. And now that Etienne is unfortunately out with that Liz Frank injury for the season, now we're going to sit there and we're going to see more of those kind of carries, those Swiss Army style plays. They're going to be going to Laviska now. So that just puts him right back. If James Robinson is going too high for your taste and you don't want to be paying that, probably I'd have to say he's probably going in the second round now. Just without looking at any of the numbers, I think that's where he's going to end up. Take Laviska, because he's going to be getting all those ETN shares. And that would be where I would go now.
Yeah, Laviska Shenault, I think as well, definitely benefits from this. And look, if you have a question like Les, let us know in the chat over on YouTube. Subscribe, windailysports.com. Also, get one of our memberships, gold membership over at Win Daily Sports. Use the promo code NFL2021, and you can get a 6-month membership for $100 off. That is a $299 membership that is down to $199, $199 for the 6 months and the NFL season, basically. So $100 off. Do that now. Sign up and use the promo code NFL 2021. We're going over all the fantasy headlines. That, of course, is one of them. Travis Etienne, certainly him being out for the season, that impacts James Robinson. And then the running back situation for both New England and the Los Angeles Rams. Now, we went over it for New England a little bit. Now comes the interesting, what is Sony Michel? And Adam Schefter went on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports today and basically said, he's going to be the workhorse back. I don't believe that for a second. The guy has an arthritic knee. The guy has knee problems, just like that other running back in Los Angeles from a few years ago. And it's hard not to think of how it's hard not to think of how that went. And, the knee injury basically derailing his career, and looking at Sony Michel and thinking that, if they work him the same way that the Rams work Gurley, they're going to run him into the ground quickly. So I don't see a situation there where Sony Michel comes to the workhorse. They just need a depth, and I think they have that.
Yeah. I just looking at it in a vacuum, I think that's pretty much what we're going to have. He's not going to be the workworkhorse guy. Like you said,
done, by the way, in a vacuum.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So shout out. See ya. No, he's not going to be a workhorse. I think Schefter's off base when it comes to that. Honestly, the knee coming from a guy who's
I'll say this. It's probably what Los Angeles wants to do. They just won't be able to do it.
Happen.
I'm sure they want to use Sony Michel in that role. I'm sure they want, because I think Sony Michel is the better back. If they trusted Damian Harris, they probably, Cam Akers wouldn't have had so much love in the first place in the offseason. But they didn't have that trust in Darrell Henderson. So they're getting Sony Michel, and I'm sure they want him to be that guy. But the thing is, he physically just won't be able to.
Yeah, that's all it is. I've always liked Sony Michel's skill set. It's just he has always had that degenerative knee condition. That arthritis that's not something that you're gonna wish away. It's there. That is bone on bone. That is something that does not go away. It does not get better. There is no miracle cure for it, so they can wish it away all they want to. So honestly, I think it's just going to be a situation where they are, as if one guy is healthy, he's going to get the majority of the work while the other guy's dinged up and get lesser work. And we're just not going to know from week to week. I think that's really, I mean, I think we're still going to see weeks where somebody like Jake Funk is going to turn around and have a random 12 to 14 carry game because both of these guys are dinged up. Henderson has never had a lion's share of the carries, and and Sony Michel has proven to break down every single time. So, I mean, don't be scared to take some final round flyers on some guys at the bottom of that running back depth chart, because as good as that offensive line is, and as good as that offense is supposed to be, it can't hurt if you have a deeper bench in seasonal leagues to go ahead and take you a shot on the third or the fourth running back in the depth chart for LA, whoever it ends up being, because that line is good enough to make them at least semi-productive. And somebody gets dinged up, you're sitting pretty. I mean, even if you don't put them on your roster, keep them in your back pocket. Just keep them in the back of your mind so that hey, both of these guys are injury prone. So the potential for some deep value is there.
Now, I'm going to retweet this from the Win Daily account. Follow us at Win Daily Sports on Twitter. But we now have a QB1 in Denver, and that is Sir Teddy Bridgewater. Now, I threw up the numbers. Now, I don't know if this is going to be the case, but I think it just proves that Teddy Bridgewater can sustain some high-level receivers. And just the numbers in Carolina last season. DJ Moore, 1,193 yards. Robbie Anderson, 4 yards shy of 1,100. Two 1,000-yard receivers in Carolina. Is this the same offense? No, it's not Joe Brady, and I don't think the Denver Broncos are going to be that kind of offense that Carolina does. But what does change is I think those numbers, what you're able to sustain two 1,000-yard receivers only if you are an efficient quarterback. And Teddy Bridgewater is accurate and very efficient. He had a 69% completion percentage last season. This guy is accurate, knows where to go with the football. And when you take a look at Jerry Jeudy's numbers and see the amount of targets that he got and compare it to the amount of completions that he had, look, it's easy to adjust the completion percentage for Teddy Bridgewater and the accuracy and the efficiency and adjust Jerry Jeudy's numbers accordingly. I think he's going to have a tremendous season. No, for you, what did Teddy Bridgewater's the confirming or the naming of him as QB1 in Denver, how does that make you view some of the pass catchers in Denver? Are we getting more than one of them? Is it just Jerry Jeudy that benefits? But what does change now that we know he's QB number one?
I think it comes out in the wash because Drew Lock, he's the big play guy. He's got the bigger arm. He was the flashier guy. Yeah. But what Bridgewater lacks in that, especially in PPR formats, you're just talking about sheer targets, because he's very efficient, but he's very efficient on a low YPA. So you're talking 100, you're going to get, 100, 110, 120 targets for each of those guys at a really high efficiency. So, I mean, those PPR points are going to add up, and the yardage will eventually get there too. What I'm thinking, it kind of makes me think they're going to be running the ball a hell of a lot more too. I think they might run the wheels off of Gordon this year. Just the more that I kind of look at it, I think I
like you said Gordon too, because I think everybody's fallen in love with the rookie running back over there.
A
little bit too much. Yes,
exactly. Tail end of this season, next season, we don't know what could, injuries could happen to anybody, and in that case, he has the potential to be, a league winner. But people have forgotten Melvin Gordon didn't have a bad year. He wasn't poo-poo last year. He was just still a pretty good producer in terms of fantasy. So don't forget about him. And it's his last year of his contract. From what I can remember, it's his last year of his contract. So
I think so.
I don't think Denver has any concerns with how many carries they're going to give that guy. So just keep that in mind.
I don't think so at all. And yes, I think that passing offense is going to be beneficial, I think, for fantasy. And Jerry Jeudy is one of those. And how high up? I mean, are you moving Jerry Jeudy up? And look, also, we got to take a look at Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know if he's going to be like a 4,000-yard quarterback, how much changes, but he's now a number one and he has plenty of options to throw to. So, I mean, it tells me that at least Teddy Bridgewater has got to be somewhat of a fantasy option here.
Yeah, he is. He'll be a later round guy. It's somebody like in best balls, you need like a second or a third QB. He's going to be steady and he's going to give you good enough numbers, but he's never going to give you anything that's really eye popping. You know, he's going to be extremely efficient. The wide receivers are going to end up producing really well at the end of the year. It's just like last season with Carolina. I mean, the wide receivers did fantastic. Even if you added up Christian McCaffrey and Mike Davis's targets, that would have equaled over 100 targets for them as well. So, I mean, he distributes the ball well, but his stats at the end of the day don't really reflect that as much as the wide receivers and the running backs do when he's targeting running backs.
And you can check all these out over on our season-long rankings. And if I do look it up, Teddy Bridgewater, he is QB 33 still right now. He may move up, but yeah, that'll be updated in a bit. But just check it out, windailysports.com. But yeah, I expect him to be up over that. But we also have had some other QB news that we have seen. And by the way, sign up windailysports.com for a gold membership. Use the promo code NFL2021. Get $100 off a 6-month subscription, and you can check out their season-long rankings. But we have confirmation that Andy Dalton is now going to start week 1. So anything about, Justin Fields is playing his way into the starting job early on, pretty much now is gone. How are you playing this situation, though? Like, how in fantasy can we play this situation knowing that Andy Dalton's starting? Look, it could last a game. It could last 5 games. It could last, almost to the end of the season. But how are you playing this in terms of fantasy? Because when Justin Fields does go in, I imagine he's going to be a fantasy option. It's just, how do we play that kind of game of, well, he's not playing right now, not getting you anything, and just use him and get him when the time comes?
Matt Nagy's dumb.
Matt Nagy's dumb.
Like honestly, it would mean more to me if somebody else, if Blazer was calling the plays. If he was calling the plays, I would put some more weight into either Dalton or Fields. I honestly, I haven't been messing with that quarterback situation at all because of who's aside from Robinson. I haven't been messing with anybody on Chicago. So this is kind of a moot point for me. Now, if the rumblings start going around that, hey, the quarterback or that the play calling situation might change, and if the play calling situation changes this time, I think he's out the door. Personally, yeah. if he gets his play calling stripped away from him again, it's not going to be him running the team. And if he's not running the team, then I fully expect Dalton to go to the bench and see what the rookie can do. In which case, I would be very, very interested in getting a piece of that. But that place is just, the offensive side of the ball is just so dysfunctional there. I just don't trust anything besides Robinson.
Yeah, I trust Montgomery, but that also, obviously there's a bit of risk if Bill Lazor is not calling the plays. Obviously, Montgomery's production came when he was calling the plays.
Concern. That is my concern.
And last thing for you here, as we are running through all the fantasy football headlines that we have gotten from the past week or so, Mac Jones. There's a good chance now, because of all that's happened with Cam Newton, him being off the field because of health and safety protocols, it's leaving this window open, and Bill Belichick seems to be saying it in the most Bill Belichick way possible, that like Mac Jones has an opportunity here to maybe just take the job and keep it. If Mac Jones starts week 1, what does that change? We already talked about the running back situation. We don't like too many of the pass catchers at all in New England, but does this bump up anybody? A tight end? Jonnu Smith? Does it bump up Nelson Aguilar? Just who are we looking at? Because it's a different offense if Mac Jones is in there. It's much different than what Cam Newton would be. So what does change if Mac Jones is named the week 1 starter?
I think Mac Jones is a really good quarterback. Sorry, I'm just doing my Bill Belichick impersonation. Apologies.
That was good. Because the funny thing was, like, he was asked about this in a way, and he just said, somebody asked, like, is this an opportunity for Mac Jones? Or, like, is Mac Jones, is the spot open for him? And Bill Belichick just went, it is. That's it. It is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
You need to know.
Look, and, side note, completely apart from football, apparently the dude is, like, hilarious in real life. He just hates the media. So shout out Bill Belichick. I understand. Now, I honestly, I think Jones can support both of those tight ends. Jacoby Myers maybe would come on the radar a little bit. I still don't like that wide receiver core no matter what, and I think that they can get a lot out of those two tight ends and get a lot out of like Stevenson, catching the ball out of the backfield. And I think that offense looked pretty good, and they were blocking extremely well with they looked good in week 2. So
yeah,
I'm still not sold on any of the pass catchers because they've already proven that they aren't really all that great, or they're inconsistent. Let's put it that way. And I know a lot of that has to do with Cam, but I got to see a little bit of something from them. At least I know what we're getting with the tight end. So if you want to take a late round.
Speaking of tight ends, going back to Chicago, any thoughts on Cole Kmet with Andy Dalton? I don't think it changes. Like, if you're taking a flyer on Kmet, I don't think this changes just because Andy Dalton.
Yeah, no, at where you're getting,
because it's a flyer. I think this is kind of baked into it to begin with.
Yeah. You're not paying so much for Kmet that it really matters. You can Dalton is still, I know everybody likes to poo-poo Dalton, but he's still a veteran NFL quarterback that can make some throws. He's not great by any stretch of the.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not starting Kendall Hinton as your quarterback. You're not starting you're not starting Ben DiNucci like Andy Dalton.
No Ben DiNucci. We're good here. He's a level or two above those guys. So I don't think you're bad if you want to take Kmet in the later rounds. Go for it. That's a good solid flyer to take your shot on. Yeah. I don't think that's going to matter. So
I think everybody at Win Daily Sports feels the same way about that with Kmet. I think Kmet's fine. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I know I'm talking about fading like the entire Chicago offense and stuff like that. So maybe that's just I don't like Nagy as a head coach, as a play caller. So that's where all that comes from. I think he's going to give you plenty. Kmet can still give you plenty of production, even with him calling the plays. They have to throw to the tight end at some point in time.
I know we like to keep it clean out here, and I know we don't like to cuss at all, but also Cliff Kingsbury is the drizzling shits when it comes to play calling, and I just need to put it in that way specifically. That's the way I needed to put it. I can't put it in any other way. Like, there's not a way I can make my thoughts known other than just saying that about Cliff Kingsbury and Matt Nagy.
He is a wet, stinky fart.
He's he's a wet, stinky fart. It's terrible. Matt Nagy and Cliff Kingsbury both. I would love to take some of the guys in those offenses, but their offenses stink, man. I know everybody wants to laugh at Urban Meyer, but you can laugh at Urban Meyer all you want. I'm laughing whatever the hell Chicago and Arizona are going to do this season because those guys actually have talent and they're not going to do absolutely anything with it.
And the thing, there's so many people that still hype up Kingsbury. It's no.
Well, I don't get it. I don't get it. But then these same people are going to go and say, well, Urban Meyer, he doesn't even want to play after this season, or he doesn't want to coach. Yeah, okay, Cliff Kingsbury sucks, man. Urban Meyer's actually won a national I know college pedigree doesn't mean much, but, man, I think I'm going to take the college pedigree of Urban Meyer and not really care about the 2 preseason games that he had. And I think that he could do probably better than Cliff Kingsbury. I think I'm justified in my reasoning by saying that. I really do.
It's still preseason. So, and by the way, the Kingsbury and Arizona and that whole area, the worst beat writers, the beat reporters are, I've blocked all of them on all social media because they carry the water for that coaching staff and they will echo the lie for DFS purposes, that kills us. There have been so many times. You remember when they thought it was cute to send out that tweet when the whole "you should have started Chase Edmonds" thing, when all the beat writers were saying that it was going to be who was it, Drake, that was going to be playing that game.
That Drake was going to be playing. He was going to be healthy.
Yeah. And then they send that thing because you should have started Chase Edmonds. It's like, you probably shouldn't have done that, dude. But
they make a lot of people happy.
No. I was pretty irate about that one. It's like, y'all are carrying that water and y'all are perpetuating lies, and those lies are costing people money. So you probably shouldn't be joking about that sort of thing with the DFS community after you lied for a week.
All right. Seen a lot of Kingsbury. No, he did not create Patrick.
Mahomes is fantastic.
No, Mahomes created
that gorgeous creature.
Yes, but Mahomes created himself because the offense was so damn dumb in Texas Tech. He ran the worst version of an air raid offense in the history of Texas Tech. And like Patrick Mahomes is like, all right, I'm just gonna figure this thing out myself. And guess what? He did, because he's just that good.
He's a better coach than Kingsbury. Okay, so
he probably is.
We need to change that. We need to change the headline of this show to Cliff Kingsbury.
Cliff Kingsbury stinks. All right, Stoby. I know somebody that doesn't stink is you. I don't know. I'm not in the same room as you, but your fantasy
little spritz of cologne every now and again.
Your fantasy football analysis does not stink. It's pretty good, and I thank you for doing the show with me today. And we'll be back at it tomorrow. I don't know what we're going to be talking about. I guarantee you, we're going to be talking about something tomorrow. We're going to be talking about football, and I'm sure there are probably going to be more headlines for us to go over as well. We've been doing that tomorrow here every day. It's football season, folks. But we'll be doing that all right here at Win Daily Sports. Make sure to sign up windailysports.com. Follow us at Win Daily Sports. Check us out on TikTok. You might see a familiar face on there. And also, use the promo code NFL2021 when signing up for a gold membership for 6 months. And you can get $100 off that 6-month membership. That is it for us. We'll be back tomorrow here at windailysports.com.